The original Slayer guy.
SLAYER!
Slayer!
Slayer scared the shit out of me. Fucking Metallica! After the Black Album, it just wasn't the same. Ba, 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 ba. Slayer! Yeah!
So much wisdom.
Slayer.
It sounds like Tom Araya sings, "My name is Tony." Yeah.
Ah, shit! No, I think
and also live. Usually when I meet people online, when I interview people on this podcast, I have met them before. But in some kind of weird way, it feels like I know you, but I still don't know you. I never met you, but I've seen you, I mean, at least 100 times. I even sampled you in a song. Today we have Daniel Schler. Is that...
Schler. Well, you can say Daniel Schler if you like.
Slayer. Awesome. I didn't even think of that. The original Slayer guy. Slayer! Yeah! Fucking awesome. For people who don't know you, please tell me about yourself.
As far as how you know me, I was asked, it was the God Hates Us All tour in 2001, and a buddy of mine, who you see credits on the DVD, Eric Braverman, and his buddy Mark Paschke, were doing this documentary on fans for Slayer on the upcoming DVD. And they asked me to do it, but actually I hate being in front of the camera. So, but I found out they were doing the interviews, interviewing people at my friend's practice pad. So I just went down there for shits and giggles, just to hang out. And I was hanging out in the back of the room, and we were having some, recreational time. And everyone was coming through, getting interviewed one by one. There was a line outside the door, because you want to be on the Slayer DVD, So they got done with everybody. My buddies kept on saying, "You got to be on this DVD, man. You got to interview." And I was like, no, I don't want to. But like I said, I was feeling pretty good, and I said, all right. So I signed a little waiver and did an interview, and about 2-3 years later, it was just all over YouTube. And I knew something was happening because in those 2 or 3 years, I would go to shows, or I was just walking down the street, even in other states. I mean, I went to Albuquerque for the Ozfest like 6 months after the DVD was released. And I had 3 people come up to me and ask me, "Are you that guy on that DVD?" And I said, "Yeah." And then, seriously, it was Judas Priest was on the bill, and they were playing, and a guy taps me on the shoulder, hands me a beer, just goes, "Slayer!" And I got a free beer out of it, and that's when I was like, okay. And then next thing I know on YouTube, there's remixes. Little parodies of me, which,
You know what? You know that you're thinking,
I'm honored, And and in the last 20 years, it's gotten so big that there's been cartoon images. Someone did a comic book.
Typical. A guy just would literally out of nowhere just yell,
Some guy in France tattooed an image of my face yelling Slayer on his stomach. I'm like, what the hell? never put a dude's image on my stomach, especially my stomach. But but it's been fun, you know. Kerry King, I met him a few times afterwards, and he would always put me in a headlock and call me his hero, you know. I mean, it got back to the band, you know. It's been pretty neat. Yeah, so that's where I am with the Slayer part. Yeah.
Amazing. And when you met Slayer, I mean, did you meet them before you did this interview, or when was the
Actually,
first time?
I met Kerry King a few times. I used to be on a radio show called Into the Pit here in Phoenix, Arizona, and we had him down at the station. He actually lived in Phoenix for a little while, and it was quite interesting. After the DVD was released, actually, I take that back. It was a little sneak peek. Slayer is playing here in Phoenix, and we all went to a bar, and they premiered it on the wall, just a fan documentary, and Kerry King was there. And I actually got a picture of him holding me in a headlock, and you know, it's just been fun. And then the next year when Slayer came through, like I said, my buddy who put the documentary together, he got me passes backstage, and I ran into Tom and Jeff, and Kerry had to introduce me, but I don't think there was no introduction. Once they saw me, you can't miss me, man. I'm a big, short guy, and I mean, now I got less hair, but
You still
yeah, they're familiar with it, and I saw them, you know, on their farewell tour and everything. It was kind of rushed, and I think there was a lot of emotions going on with the band at that time, so we didn't really get to chat too long. But I did find out that Tom did remember me from the DVD, and it's been crazy. It's fun. It's pretty funny for something I didn't want to do, and it turned out to be such a big thing.
Yeah. God damn it! And this radio show you had, Into the Pit, that's a Testament title, right?
A Testament title?
Yeah, isn't it?
Oh, yes, right. One of their songs, right.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Into the Pit.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I believe, I don't know if it was Fight or Helford, but they have a song, Into the Pit, too. Yeah, I think it's Fight. Yeah.
All right, I have missed that one, but I used to be a huge Testament fan. I used to listen a lot to thrash metal. I come from a metal background, and later came into more like punkish music. But you do you feel like you come from the thrash metal side? Like where did your interest in extreme music start?
Yeah, it's quite interesting. Growing up, my sister was in one of those groups that you get, 10 tapes for a penny and all this, and they would randomly send you other kind of genres of music. And I remember when those tapes came in, I remember two of them. It was a Black Sabbath and a Kiss. And back in those days, just the image of album covers, would just intrigue you, especially when you're young. And I always remembered those. And one day, I was at a record store, just flipping through the records, and I just amazed by Iron Maiden covers. And I remember my sister coming up to me and saying, "You can't look at those. Those are satanic." And I was like, "Oh, well then I gotta look at these." So, anyway, and being with friends and everything, my friend hands me over Peace of Mind, and I just started getting into British metal and everything, and then it happened. I was on a chartered bus trip over to California, and I kept on hearing ba 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 ba, and I was like, "What in the hell is that?" And I'm like, so I turned around, and I always compare this scenario to Beavis and Butthead, if you're familiar with them, with Todd. This guy was the Todd, the cool guy, you kind of feared him because he was Mr. Metalhead with the long hair and everything. So I turned around, peeked through the seats. I said, "Hey man, what are you listening to?" He goes, "Fucking Metallica." I was like, "Wow, dude, they're awesome, And he hands me the tape along with Led Zeppelin 4, which, I was like, okay, but I went for the Metallica, and that is when I got introduced to thrash. And I got home, and I was telling my best friend about it, and my best friend was already ahead of me, and he said, well, then check out these bands: Testament, Exodus, Nuclear Assault, Overkill, and of course, Slayer. And Slayer scared the shit out of me. I mean, even I was like, I don't know if I should be listening to this band, I mean, back then, yeah, it's a black metal, but Slayer was so Americanized and evil. I was just like, wow, and I wasn't sure if I should be listening to it, but it triggered me where it was such a release. And, I will say Metallica was my favorite band for years, but I think obviously after the Black Album, it just wasn't the same, I don't want to throw stones or be a hypocrite and say Metallica sucks, but it changed, and the bands that really stayed true as far as the big four was that Anthrax, Megadeth, and Slayer.
Yeah. And
so it was pretty much thrash. I mean, I'm into all types of music, but the heavy metal genre, that's my therapy. It sucks getting older because at the shows I can't go into mosh pits anymore and all that. But yeah, Slayer's always been the one true band that really got my head together. If people would slam them or say they're too evil, this and that, blah blah blah. You know what? It always did the opposite for me. And so yeah, I've been listening to Slayer since 1990, 91. The first Slayer show I went to was the Seasons in the Abyss.
Yeah.
And freaking phenomenal. And that was back in the days where bands still could not open up for Slayer. Or once those house lights dropped and that Slayer intro came on, oh boy, it's on. It's like every man for themselves. I miss those days. I really do. And, but everyone gets older, and as far as Slayer retiring, I respect it. I think that's something Metallica should have did years ago. Even if you retire, change your name. And you can still have a band, but don't hold on to that image because you got such a cult following with fans. You shouldn't let them down. And if Slayer went on to do a different project, and I would be okay with that because they obviously are older. They can't do what they can do 20, 30 years ago. So anyway, I'm rambling with that, but I love talking. I love talking metal, man.
Yeah. But what was your job at the radio station at the radio show?
I was a DJ. I was a co-host. What's funny with that? Back in the day, I had a fanzine called BERZERKER magazine, and the DJ there called me and said, "Hey, would you come down? I'd like to interview and talk about your magazine, promote it, and everything." I said, "Sure." Well, I came down there, and the show was such a hit, and the DJ, Spanky is his name, started calling me down every Sunday. We would just discuss metal on Sunday nights, and it got pretty huge. And then Spanky went on to other things, and my buddy Dennis was hosting the show, and he asked me, "Would you like to be my permanent co-host?" And I was like, "Sure." And we would spend metal. We had 2 hours every Sunday night, and we're the #1 show in the prison system in Arizona. You can't believe the fan mail I got from prisons, and the artwork was incredible. But we had a good time. They said at our show, when Dennis and I were doing it together, was one of the most popular ones at this radio station. And it was a good few years. And then, again, my buddy Dennis went on to do other things. And I ran the show for a few months. And then, and that was in 2001. And I don't know, the little bit of the corporate side was starting to step in and pushing me to play music in where it didn't make sense to me because it was a variety show and it was supposed to be into the pit, you know?
Yeah.
So in those 2 hours, I tried to play the most extreme music, you know, and but I couldn't do it. I mean, even though bands like System of a Down, I like them, but you know what? Make it regular rotation during the day.
Yeah.
Why do we have to play them in those 2 hours? You know, so I don't know. There's a lot of political stuff, and you know, and you know how it is, man. This music industry is not the same anymore, and so I kind of hang up the radio and magazine torch because it just wasn't fulfilling, and I didn't want it to ruin my love for music, so I stepped away. And I mean, sometimes I miss it, you know, but then again, I like doing things like this, and then just running into other metalheads at shows, you know, and which I hope starts up again soon because I miss going to concerts.
Same here, and usually, I mean, except from this Corona period, how often do you go to shows, and do you also go to underground shows, or is it only bigger kind of shows? Or
I go to all shows, man. If it's a local bands, underground. I still enjoy big arena shows, but you know, like in 2019, obviously, I went to the last 3 Slayer shows, Vegas and the 2 LA shows, and I saw Maiden, Iron Maiden a few times that year, and gets pricey with those big shows, but I understand what it takes to put them on, and but yeah, I love all types, you know. I mean, I could literally, I remember the day I could be at a black metal show and at the end of the week just be at a more calmer show like Clutch or something like that, you know.
Huh?
And it's good, and I definitely want to get back into that when the music concerts start picking up.
Are you into going to like underground punk shows and grindcore shows as well?
Absolutely, yes. It's been a while. I've been to any kind of punk. I'm trying to think what the last one was. I think it was that brief tour with Exploited. I think that was the last show, and that was a lot of fun. But you know, going back to what we're talking about, how when I was getting into metal, I remember, you know, getting into the thrash, and I had a buddy of mine in high school. He was handing me tapes like Dead Kennedys, Exploited, DRI was on the list. DRI I took on to a little bit more because that's a whole crossover time. And I remember going to those shows, and it was quite wild and a lot of fun. But again, it's the thrash music that drew me in, you know.
Are you into like checking out the new grindcore bands, or is it still like thrash metal that fills your?
You know, if I get introduced to a new grindcore, absolutely, I'll check it out. You know, like I said, my favorite genre of metal is thrash, ultimately. But you know, if I'm in the mood, I'll get into some grindcore. I'll get into some death metal, some black metal, you know, stoner rock. You know, I mean, it depends on the mood. But if you look at my CD collection, you know, it's it's pretty much thrash, you know,
and a lot of people come to a certain point in their life where they don't feel hungry for new music anymore. They don't like go online or like order new albums just to find new music. They're pretty lazy. They just fall back on the usual stuff that they listen to. And sometimes I get a little bit afraid of myself when I feel that way, when I notice that I have those tendencies. But do you still like check out new bands, like order CDs, like support the underground music, or do you feel like a little bit more safe? You have your go-to records, or do you catch my drift?
A little bit of both. I mean, of course, I have my safety net of the music I was raised on, but I'm not opposed to if I hear something and checking them out. You know, that's where I think. A part of YouTube is so awesome because I could
Sure.
You could briefly mention something, and then I'll go and check that band out. And if I like it, I'm going to get their CD, you know? And so, yes, I'm definitely supportive of newer music still. I mean, I'll be totally honest with you. I think a lot of music out nowadays is crap, or it's already been done.
You sound like an old man. Nah,
Yeah, right, yeah, it's not like my dad, you know, there ain't no music. There ain't no music, try to Slayer. But it really is. It's just like, that sounds like, Hate Breed. That sounds like, this band. And it's kind of annoying, but I think it is it's hard to be original or different nowadays. But like I said, I'm not opposed to listening and giving it a shot, and if I like it, I'm going to jam it. Yeah.
But that's it. It comes to a point where it's almost impossible to have something that it's only you and still be true in that sense. And I mean true. There are some newer bands. They play like old school riffs, but they put on some disco beat in the background and some synthesizers. And yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And some and I just can't figure it out. Like, how can people listen to it? But then I realize I'm one of those old grumpy men that suddenly I'm actually there. So I try to stay open-minded and it's fine. It's better that they listen to this than a lot of other crap that is out there. You know.
Right.
Yeah. But if you would if you would see a kid today that showed interest for like extreme music, what 3 classic albums would you show them?
Classic albums 3. Let's see. Well, I'm gonna go with the ultimate thrash metal album that got me into it, and that's Master of Puppets, Metallica. Of course, I'm gonna leave Slayer for last. That's the other one. You put me on the spot.
That's fine. I just edited it out.
Yeah, Master of Puppets. I really want to say something by Nuclear Assault, because that's another great band. But I'm going to go with Anthrax, and that album is, and it's kind of funny because it's all falling into Big Four, but, again, that's so beneficial. I mean, if we really want to get the 3 overall metal, I'm going to be throwing some British metal in there, like Iron Maiden, Judas Priest. Let's see here. Which Anthrax album was it? Probably Among the Living. And then Slayer, of course, Hell Awaits. Yeah. I mean, I was going to see South of Heaven because that was my first introduction into Slayer. And of course, most people want to say, "Oh, dude, it's Rain and Blood." Well, no, that's you check box here because that album, for any metalhead, that's in their collection, And but yeah, Hell Awaits would be the album where it's like, if you can get through this without being scared and you can headbang, then you're on the right track, And I say, and that's what I'll tell that kid. Carry on,
Hell yeah. You know that song, of course you know that song, Die by the Sword.
Mm-hmm.
Every time I listen to that song, what is it? The helpless minds of us all. The pools of blood. And when he sings Mindless Tyranny, I will just fuck up this for you from this day and on. It sounds like Tom Araya sings, "My name is Tony."
Yeah. Ah, shit! No,
and also live, my name is Tony.
Oh my gosh. Oh. All right, now.
Listen to it afterwards, and you will
Thanks for
laugh.
ruining the song. No, I'm kidding. That's funny.
Some say that the pen is mightier than the sword, but I'll say fuck the sword. No, fuck the pen. Oh shit, I just fucked it up, man. Because you can
But isn't
die
it
by
funny,
the
like
pen.
with Slayer, as fast as Tom sings, and all these years you think you knew the lyrics, and you're going blah 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 blah, blah to it, and then someday you're reading the lyrics, and you're like, oh shit, I've been singing that song totally wrong.
And for a Swedish kid, when you start to listen to like extreme music and all in all English music, it just blows my mind what I thought they sang when I was a kid, because I just like repeat like regurgitate some words that I hear. I don't know the meaning of it or anything. I think we can call it Swinglish instead of Swedish. Yeah.
Right.
So, have you ever played in a band? Do you play guitar or anything?
I do not, and it's a bummer because when I was young, I picked up the guitar. I tried to learn it and just couldn't handle it. I tried drums, and then I said, well, shoot, let me try piano so I could do keyboards and something. Anything, but I just never had a talent for playing music. I did have a buddy. We wanted to start a choke band, a slapstick, a parody band. We were going to call ourselves Esophagus, and we were going to do just death metal and sing about songs about food.
Ah, all right.
And songs about not dieting and worship Satan. But we were going to launch that, and I was going to do vocals because, if anything, I could growl, so I could do my death metal. But that never materialized. But yeah, I never had that talent to be a musician. That is why I back in the day, I started a magazine, Berserker magazine, because I did enjoy writing. I had a professor in college tell me that he really enjoyed my writings and I should move forward. And at that time, I loved looking through all these fanzines and bigger magazines like Metal Edge and whatnot. And I was like, I could do this. And I was a fanboy. So I said, if I do this, I can interview some of my favorite bands. And it escalated quick. My first issue was just like a couple pages stapled in the corner. And we'd go out and put them in head shops, record shops, pass them out at concerts. And by the 9th issue, we're a full-blown magazine. Not color, but it was doing pretty good. And it would have continued, but that time, again, the radio came into play. And I was just so busy with everything. I didn't have time to, juggle the magazine, the radio show, plus my regular life, work life. And but I still have fantasies of being in a rock band. I mean, it's just there's a whole adrenaline when you're on that stage and play. And so in the meantime, I admire my bands and the musicians on stage. And so
how many issues did you make of the magazine?
We put out 9 issues. Let me see here. Let me grab it.
And when was the last one?
Yeah, this was the last issue of Berserker magazine, right here.
Cool.
And in that issue, we interviewed the band Death, which is really kind of sad because a few years later, Chuck Schuldiner passed away. We got Cannibal Corpse, 6 Feet Under, Hammerfall, Mortification, and a couple local Arizona bands. But
it's such a funny mix to have a Cannibal Corpse, Death, and then fucking Hammerfall, because like at least in Sweden, like the nerd metal guys, they were the ones who were into like Stratovarius and Hammerfall.
Yeah, power metal. Yeah.
But I mean, this is like a totally different level. Like power metal can still be cool, but Hammerfall, that's just bullshit. But yeah.
Well, you know, I think that was what was so cool with the popularity of my fan scene, because we had such a diverse bands in there, which I wanted, because like I said, I'm into all types of music, all types of metal, and you know, I mean, my favorite issue here was number 8, because I got to interview Iron Maiden.
Oh,
and,
shit!
Yeah. And
what year
check
is
out
this?
These bands in this issue is Iron Maiden, Propane, and not Ronnie James Dio, but the rest of the band, Dio, in there. And, you know, that's oh, and the band Master. I don't know if you remember the band, band Master.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, they I've seen them.
Yeah.
But I've seen them at wait, what the fuck? Obscene Extreme, I think. You know of Obscene Extreme?
Oh, yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. But how did you, like, what year was this, and how did you get in touch with Iron Maiden? Like, how is that even possible to get in touch?
Well, I think the Cards were in my favor at that time, because that's when Bruce Dickinson wasn't in the band. I think they had the place Bailey, and you know, and Iron Maiden wasn't playing arenas right at that time. They were playing mid-sized venues. So I just kept on with the record label. I said I would like to interview the band, and it came through. And originally I was supposed to interview Yannick in the band, and when I got there, I guess he was out and about, but the tour manager asked me if I would like to interview Steve Harris, and I was like, yeah. And we did the interview, and that was truly a time, besides the first time meeting Slayer, where I was starstruck. I really was. I was a total geek, a fanboy. Yeah. And it was a great interview. I was nervous as hell, but, you know, we broke the ice and we started talking metal all the way up to the point, because the venue, it's a circular stage, and the dressing rooms were downstairs. So as I'm interviewing him, Dio was opening up for Maiden, and I could hear Dio playing atop of us. So I'm just like, if I died right now, I'll be okay. And in fact, that same venue is that where Slayer played God Hates Us All, and then the next day, the interviews for the DVD were happening. So it's all kind of mixes into one. But yeah, so, and what's ironic too, a year later, Bruce Dickinson was in the band. And this is when I think I did good, because the label called me and said, we can get you set up for tickets, VIP, in Texas, if you want to fly out there. And I was like, well, yeah. So my buddy and I flew out to Texas, and we're backstage, and I had about 10 issues of the magazine. And I went up to Steve, and I was like, hey, I don't know if you remember me. And he's like, oh, he said something like, you're that Berserk guy. And I was like, yeah, Berserker. I said, hey, man, I got the issues done. I brought a few issues. You guys want to just hang out sometime in hotels and read it or something? And met the whole band, and it was just awesome. And again, I think there was that time too, and that was all at the end of 2001, where, you know, I was hanging up the magazine and the radio gig, because things were changing, you know, the music, and but yeah, that will always go down part of me. I mean, Iron Maiden and Slayer. I mean, meeting those guys, hanging out with them, partying with them. Good Lord, Jeff knows how to party. Jeff Hayden.
That's fucking awesome. Yeah. Amazing. I wish I could see this on like movies.
Oh, I know. And that was 98, 99, 2000 time. And, you know, cell phones really didn't have that I mean, a lot of people weren't snapping pictures. I mean, there's a few out there. I mean, you go to a concert. I mean, now everyone has their phone in the air. It's kind of actually aggravates the shit out of me. But I do wish I had video footage and more pictures of those times. You know,
should have worn like a GoPro.
But then again, it's all in the head. It's a memory. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Amazing. And in the documentary, when they ask you about Slayer, you say something like...
that brought true meaning to people, for bringing out so much aggression, so much pleasure, so much hatred, so much blood, so much tears, so much wisdom. This band brought it.
If you reflect on it today, like what space does Slayer fill in your life today? What purpose do they have in your life?
Well, I believe in the DVD there's a part where he says, well, Slayer sings about evil, darkness, Satanism, Nazism, and blah 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 blah. And if they're singing about death, is this truly the band you want to be worshiping and loving it? And I said something to the effect, and again, I haven't watched the DVD in like 5 years, so, but I remember saying something like, well, if they're singing about death, I'm thinking about life. It always made the opposite effect to me, such as if a song is about evil, well, you know what? To me, I don't want to go towards certain shit and do that, It's kind of like my Bible, the do's and don'ts, and I mean, there are people out there that take shit way too serious and go for it. I mean, it's such as a lot of black metal bands, and I shake my hands. I think that's just awful. I mean, Tom Araya even admits that like, for God Hates Us All, he doesn't hate us all, I mean, Tom said in that, I think it was the same DVD, that, he's Catholic, But then again, evil sells albums. Anything negative out there, or what people don't understand, will sell albums. And but yeah, as far as today, absolutely. I could still pop in those first few Slayer albums, and it never gets old. I know bands that, I don't even know why I have their CDs in my collection anymore, or their tapes, because I just don't listen to them. But they're just impacting bands, and I mean.
You can send me those, and I'll send you a Birthflesh album, so we have both something that we shouldn't listen to.
Yeah, definitely.
Win-win,
Yeah, it's just like I said, I'm gonna leave today, and I'll probably put on some Slayer. I was doing it last night. I was jamming Repentless, and not that it's one of my favorite Slayer albums,
good.
But it's still good,
It beats Reload.
Oh, yeah. Oh man, and Load.
Yeah. But I mean, one of my favorite Metallica songs it must be the cover of Tuesday's Gone. It's just so beautiful.
Yeah, it is nice. Yeah,
but I wish it was another band that made the cover. I think it was actually Matt Harvey from Exhumed. You know Exhumed?
Mm-hmm. Yes. Mm-hmm.
I think he dropped the line that Metallica is the best cover band ever. and I can totally like agree with that one.
You know what? There's a lot of truth to that, But the best cover album is obviously the first Garage Days Revisited. I mean, Oh my gosh, King Diamond songs,
Diamond Head.
Diamond Head, yes,
Diamond Head, awesome.
I mean, it's just that's a great cover album, I mean, and the second one, again, it's good for what it is, but
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot of truth to that. They are a good cover band for other songs.
I mean, I'm 36, so when I found that second cover album, I found bands like Diamond Head, and I mean now I have like vinyls with Diamond Head, and I mean one of my favorite new wave of British metal, heavy metal albums is Lightning to the Nations. I mean that one with Diamond Head is just awesome.
Right, right.
So I'm
I
very
had a
thankful for
chance to see him. I come through Phoenix like 3 or 4 years ago, and I didn't go, and I kicked myself in the ass for not going. You know.
But that's with the new singer, right?
I believe so. I imagine so. Yeah, but you know that was on my bucket list because, like what you said, for Garage Days, I was like, well, who is this band? And I'd go into it, and believe it or not, I didn't know if, I mean, I knew of Motorhead, but I really didn't know their music. But Metallica actually took me into Motorhead. And then I ended up liking Motorhead for the longest time more than Metallica. You know, Lemmy's God, you know. And I like that, you know. And it's great to see, you know, bands, you know, that were influenced by other bands. I mean, too, you know, I always got a kick out of that intro, Iron Maiden intro on Garage Days. It's been a while since I listened to it, but I'm just like, that's Iron Maiden, you know? Run to the Hills, maybe? I don't know. But,
I can't even remember.
You might want to edit this part out because I'm drawing a blank. I'm getting older. I'm 47 now, so I used to know the names of the tracks, the album cover to album cover. I could tell you the dates. Like last night, I did look up to find out when that Slayer concert was. The day before I got interviewed, and it was December 11th, 2001. And honestly, as I'm older now, I don't remember that date. I remember the concert. It was fun. I mean, again, that was back in the day when I was drinking a lot too and having fun. But I remember the interview the next day more than and the pain in my neck from headbanging the night before.
I interviewed Barney Greenway in Napalm Death, and he told me that Motorhead. For him, he says that Motorhead is the first extreme metal band that there ever was. They were the first one that played with such a high volume and that like distorted bass. And I never thought of it like that before because you know I came into like Motorhead when Motorhead sounded old, of course. But I mean like the evolution of it. So I mean what those bands meant to the extreme bands today, it's just a amazing perspective, I think.
It is amazing. Yeah. Long live Lemmy, man. I mean yeah. And it's funny you saying loudest band. When you said that, it triggered off a memory. First time I saw Motorhead, it was at an outside venue. And and I remember going home from the show, and my ears were ringing. And that was the first time at an outside show that my ears would ring, because Motorhead was just so loud. And I'm like, truly, they are the loudest band in the world. And yeah. Lemmy's going to be missed, you know, and I got to see him I believe it was about 6 months before he passed away. He came through for an off show here in Phoenix, and yeah, it was pretty rough to see him up there. You could tell he was hurting, yeah, but he was still rocking though, yeah. So rest in peace, Lemmy.
For sure. If you would recommend 3 bands that you don't think I know of, like it can be like newer underground bands. What 3 bands would you recommend me to listen to?
Underground? Oh wow. Let's see here. It's probably the bands on my other computer that I've been recently listening to lately. What was the name of that one? Let's see here. Oh, gosh, I could see their logo and everything in my head. Who are they? Oh, you're putting me on the spot.
Please say Slayer. No, I'm just fucking.
Slayer's.
I can see their logo.
Well, Slayer's mandatory. Yeah. You know what? I mean, I guess I was digging a little bit too much underground. You know, because I mean, of course, I want to promote. I mean, there's so many bands out of California and Florida, New York here that are underground. That I don't understand why they're more popular than they are. I mean, they're just great bands. I mean, and I find that out too. And a lot of these European bands, you know, it's like, why aren't they bigger? You know, but then again, as we talked earlier, the whole music industry is not what it's cracked up to be anymore. I mean, bands don't make money on selling albums anymore. It's all merchandise and touring. It sucks. But I'm just going to go underground as far as bands that probably weren't as popular as more of the mainstream. You know, and I'm pretty sure you know these bands, and you have them on your collection. It's Nuclear Assault.
Yeah.
Overkill. What's that? Yeah, let's see here. What's another one? I'm such a perfectionist when it comes to my music sometimes. I don't want to give wrong answers.
I'll tell you a story while you think of the third one. We played with the Nuclear Assault many times. I had Dan Lilker on this podcast. I was supposed to have Eric Burke, the stand-in guitar player of Nuclear Assault, and when we played California Death Fest, Air Berlin fucked up the delivery of my guitar, so it ended up in Frankfurt in Germany. So I had to borrow the Stratocaster of Eric Burke and Nuclear Assault.
Oh, wow.
And that was the worst show I ever
Nice.
did. I couldn't play a fucking Stratocaster. But I got to play Nuclear Assault's guitar. So
Nice.
that was cool, all
definitely.
in all.
Yeah. I wish that band was just more still active and everything. They're just so underrated, you know.
Yeah, but I mean, they are. On this Final Assault tour, I think I've seen them 3 times on this Final Assault, like 2 years, and after a while, it's like, is this the Final Assault? No, it wasn't the Final Assault. It was something like the record label said something like, we should call it something like this, or like Dan Lirker give me like a shadow misty answer to that. But they are going strong, I think. I think they're going to keep on playing while this Corona shit is over.
Good,
for sure.
good, yeah. Dan Lilker is such a nice guy. He really is. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's just the type of guy, when they are coming through and playing shows, either if it's, you know, Brutal Truth back in the day, Nuclear Assault, SOD, yeah. He's always the guy still, you can hang out with him at the bar, you know? Yeah, he's just a super nice guy, yeah.
Yeah, he's not that guy.
Right.
I totally dig what you're saying.
And man, he has so many stories
Down to earth.
talking about metal, and I lived through him, man. You know, I love talking to him, you know. And if my magazine was going, I would do a whole issue just to him.
He works at a record store in New
really?
York. Yeah, so next time you go to New York, you should find out which one, and you can get your SOD vinyl.
There we go,
signed by
yeah.
Dan Lilker. Yeah.
So yeah, I'm going to throw a newer band. Well, it's not new anymore. Municipal Waste. I think that's a very good underground band going there. it took me a little while to get into them, but then I finally, yeah, I like them, man. That gives me hope that there's still some good metal music going out.
Party thrash, motherfucker. Beer pressure. Yeah, fucking awesome. Yeah, god damn it. Yeah, oh, goddamn, go for away. Municipal Waste, they actually play a lot of shows with like grindcore bands. That type of like party thrash has a lot of yeah. I really don't know what it is with grindcore to get like some of those bands are fine and some are not, and suddenly you can find like a guy like one guy with a distorted cello sitting naked and screaming, and that is also fine, you know. And it's just like a weird genre of music. Did you ever go to visit Full Terror Assault? You know this festival?
Sorry, can you repeat that?
It's an American festival called Full Terror Assault.
Oh, yes, I've heard of it. I've never been to one. No. It's kind of interesting. I went pretty faithfully to a summer festival that was held in Milwaukee, the Milwaukee Metal Fest. I went there for about 4 or 5 years, but there are a lot of festivals here in America, but I don't know. Sometimes I don't know if it's worth the journey going to these. I'd rather go to Europe and see them over there, because I don't want to diss my own country, but it just seems like in Europe, it's metal music today is just so much more appreciative, you know, of it. Yeah. I mean, but don't get me wrong, because if someone sees me at a show, hey, I thought you said festivals and this sucks. I'm like, well, no, it's not that I said it sucks. It's just the love and passion of it is better somewhere. Even in Mexico and down in Brazil, man, oh my God, the metal concerts and the fans are just so crazy, you know.
Have you ever watched like live footage from extreme metal shows from Indonesia?
Oh yeah, right?
Fucking crazy. That was the weirdest thing ever. I went there twice.
Oh, wow.
Weird things like, how did this happen? Even their fucking president, his favorite bands. I know it's Metallica and Napalm Death are two of them. No, Megadeth and Napalm Death is two of his favorite bands. Just imagine that.
Wow, yeah.
Just imagine if
Indonesia, yeah.
Obama would have said, like, yeah, like one of my favorite bands is Slayer and Earth, Wind and Fire. Just amazing.
Well, I mean, like I just realized, you know, for a bigger production, Iron Maiden's going to be headlining. Is that Donington? Is it Donington? Yeah. Anyway, and I thought, if this whole COVID thing frees up, this would probably be my opportunity to travel. Because you know, I'm at the point where I can go somewhere else now, and if I'm going to go to big festivals, I want to do it, you know, somewhere else, and have the whole experience. You know, and I think part of that is chasing that magic I had when I was younger. When you went to a concert, it was bigger than life, man. I mean, the night before, you couldn't go to sleep, and you get there early, 6 hours early, leaning up against the door, so when those doors open, you're going to be the first on the barricade. You know, I miss that magic. Yeah, you know, it just sucks getting older. And getting older, these bands that I idolize, such as Slayer, you know, it pains me to see them going away. But, again, I respect that they retired. They went out on a high note. I don't think they're going to be like Ozzy and Kiss, where they're going to go, okay, we're going to do another final tour, and another one, or another retirement tour. You know, they're not. And the last time I spoke with Tom, actually, I take that back. The last time I spoke with Tom, you could tell that he loves playing. He likes playing live, but that touring is just killing him. You know, and I respect what he's doing, and I'm curious to see what Carrie's going to be doing with this new project, and I think it'll be good. I just hope he's not going to try to ride on the Slayer train, you know, and do something different. I sure hope so. You know, I mean, Fanny and Paul from Dimebag and Vanny did well with Damage Plan and whatnot, you know, and going away from Pantera. That's what I hope Kerry King's going to do. But I don't know. I just probably babbled there again. Yeah, and like I said, it's 11 o'clock in the morning. I mean, it's too early to drink. So, well, for me it is because I'm getting older. Oh, check you out. What are you drinking?
I'm drinking IPA, Indian Pale Ale, called Cinder from a Swedish brewery called The True Temple. And they have the same logo as Mayhem, but the True
Temple.
Temple.
Interesting. Yeah.
It's good stuff. Good stuff from a good guy.
You're winding down today, right?
Yeah, here's like 7 o'clock.
Yeah,
so,
and I'm just basically starting mine. Yeah. Yeah. So.
Yeah, I'm like right after this, I'm gonna do some tapas and drink some wine with my girlfriend and watch some good
Awesome,
movies.
great.
Yeah. Round up the day.
Awesome.
But I'm not gonna ruin the rest of your day.
You know what? If we talk metal all for the rest of the weekend, I'd be okay with that, man. And I've been with this whole COVID thing. I've been quarantined so much that it feels good to talk to people, even if it is through Zoom. It's been I got sick in January and put me out for about three weeks, and I told myself, man, whenever I can hang out and talk, and as soon as the shows start opening up, I'm back. You know, this last year has made me really appreciative of what I got. I mean, I saw that one thing on Facebook where it says, I miss concerts so much that I would buy a $16 beer. And I was like, yeah. I don't think I'm ever going to bitch about high beer prices or concert shirts again, you know? Yeah.
Yeah, god damn it. I think for the people that watch this, I think I'm gonna round this up. But let's stay and talk a little bit more. But for the viewers at home, as usual, thanks a lot for watching, and insert jingle there. And yeah, man. Now we're off.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna put this up. Oh wait, we forgot one thing. I think we need one more of these.
Slayer! I knew that was coming, and I was.
How?
So before I do that, I'm gonna let my dog out of the bedroom. By the way, you don't know this, because I'll scare the shit out of him. You don't know this. My dog's name is Slayer.
Hey!
I got him about 4 years ago, and at the time I was married to a bitch, and and I told her, I said, if we keep this dog, I get to name him. And he's a small dog, and I always promised myself, if I ever get a small dog again, I'm going to name him Slayer, because you just can't say Slayer. You got to say, Slayer! Oh, sorry, dog. And, you know, and it's funny, and it's become a chick magnet, and you're like, oh, your dog, blah, 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 what's his name? I'm like, Slayer. So yeah, let him out of the room, and I'll give you guys a all good Slayer. I hope I don't pop anything in my head. And here's a good note. When I'm yelling that on that DVD, I was on this little stool. And again, I'm a big guy. And like I said, we've been partying for about 3 hours before I was being filmed. When I yelled that, I almost fell off that chair. Sometimes I wonder if it would have been more classic if I did, but... and there was...
And that's such a long Slayer as well. It has like a long tail. It's like...
And again, none of that was planned. That's just... pure love for the music, and a little under the influence, but but yeah, let me let the dog out, and we'll give a final Slayer screw, man. All right.
Hell yeah.
Slayer!